Is it too early for everyone, or what?
Not for us.
I think yes.
Yeah. I think we might keep this 9 o'clock slot. I kind of like to get it the hell out of the way, too, so.
Kick us off.
Anyway, David Moore, Dallas Morning News. What did you, I know previous bye weeks you've talked about, you've kind of gone through and you've isolated some things and tweak on both sides and eliminate. Can you talk in general what your process was this time? Will there be some tweaks you incorporate schematically and some you leave out going forward here?
No, absolutely. I mean, it's a format that I've used for quite a long time, as far as back as I can remember. So the format and the filters are very similar to the past, but every year is different, you know. And this year is definitely different than some prior years. I mean, there's some things that, you know, you can use as comparables in 23. You know, some years the things you can use as comparables in 22. 22 and 23 is a good production comparable, but the reality of it is, you know, every team's different. So, but yeah, you definitely go through the filters, look at everything. You know, we had the offense and defense, special teams on Monday, Tuesday, and into Wednesday. I thought the staff did a really good job of, you know, just sorting through, you know, the unit filters of, you know, run, pass, protection, and we had conceptual evaluation. Just more, you know, you have more time, so you can go deeper than your normal in-week cell Scott. So I really liked the information came out of that. I had, you know, a lot of reading to do over the end of the week, and then actually I'll speak today on these things at 11 o'clock. The team is in here from 9 to 11. You know, we're going to be in the weight room, but then we got some skill development work that we'll do on the field, you know, as part of the conditioning. So that'll be the on the field work today. There's a 2-hour block for that. And then 11 o'clock, I'll go with a full State of the Union, you know, weeks 1 through 6, and then lay out the second trimester, you know, the focal points for that, but take them through some really specific, you know, statistics real statistics, but no statistics that show why the direction and the things we need to work on. And then we'll go into our across the hall format, and I've tried to tweak that each year and really kind of spin that more in the direction of the South Scout components that can be taught within the across the hall, because I think it's real important for all of us to hear, you know, common language, common concepts, but come from a different voice, come from a different perspective. And across the hall has always been very, very beneficial. You know, it'll be 60 minutes of instruction, 40 minutes of Q&A. So we'll do that, and that's really geared to make sure that every player in those rooms, you know, for instance, the perimeter, you know, the offensive perimeter will be in, the quarterbacks, receivers will be with all the secondary coaches, you know, and so we're doing a little more group oriented, just because we feel like we need to improve the connection and understanding because of our inexperience and youth in so many areas. So we, you know, feel like the more group as a whole, you know, moving forward, is we want to do more work there. So that'll start in across the hall. Then we'll have lunch, and then we'll go in the O&D meetings, and then they'll get a self-Scott presentation there, and then we'll break into the individual meetings and also get on to San Francisco. So, and special teams also have their segment. So they'll leave here today with the San Francisco game plan started. So it'll be a full week of. It's a great day. I mean, it's a day as a coach you love. I mean, it's self-Scout, self-improvement, you know, self-discipline, all the things that just to highlight some of the things we've done in the off-season, you know, utilization of O2X and the tools and the emotional toolbox that they've laid out for us. So just you have a chance to really go back and review those things. But at the end of the day, it's about how it's going to be applied, because, you know, you got to get these things regimented into your 7-day work week, because, you know, once you get it regimented, it's regulated and it becomes part of your everyday process. So this is you know, I've been here the whole week preparing for this, and I got statistics buzzing out of my ears, and I'm looking forward to getting together with the team at 11 o'clock. So
well, the other side, I'm following up on that. You talk about all that emotionally, especially coming off a loss like you had, when you start to hear the criticism that's just naturally going to build outside the building, even having Troy Aikman and his comments. Do you feel the need to address those with the players at any point?
I don't. I think you address them as a whole, because it's all part of that external focus that, frankly, we need to move away from, frankly. I mean, if anything, working here, you know, the intensity of externals and potential distractions is high. That's part of our operation. Green Bay was cold. I mean, everybody has something, that you have that's probably different than other places you work. So that's part of our norm. The external noise or pro work on, it's we prefer the pro, but it's part of working here, and it's part of our landscape. So yeah, for me to address those comments, there, I don't, because they don't carry any weight with me, because I watch all the tape. I get to go to the meetings. I'm at practice. I'm part of the games, so I have a clear understanding of what and where. And in Troy's statement in particular, I don't agree with the word selection, but there is definitely need for improvement in every position. Not just one position that he commented on. So I think you look at the whole picture. You break it down, and that's what coaches do. And there's a process to it. There's always a plan. These guys bring great energy. That their work ethic is high. If GPS is a good monitor. Gives you an idea of your workload capacity. Going back to what I said earlier, the 22 and 23 comparables from a workload capacity, the GPS is higher than the prior two teams, so that tells you that the effort and energy is there, but the detail and intention needs to go up. That's going to be a big part of the message today. So we're not as detailed in a number of areas on our football team, which is normal for any football team that I've ever coach to be part of. So for it to be highlighted with a brighter light because of external opinions, that's not the way we work. We sell scout every day, sell scout every week. And I think the biggest thing that's come out of this, just once again, we met as a staff this morning at 7, and is we need to spend more time in group settings. Our coaches do a really good job, because 10 years ago, I felt that there was an epidemic of PowerPoint coaching, and we really spend a ton of time of making sure our players see a tremendous amount of video in the structured meeting time together. So we need to build off of that and make sure that we do that, not more in the individual. Where I'm going with this is, we got to get away from as many individual meetings. We need more group, because our connection between position needs to be higher. You can talk about details and buzzword the hell out of these conversations, but the reality of it is that if the connection between the positions doesn't increase, then the unit production is not going to be where we want it to be. So that's really going through with a fine tooth. You still only have the same amount of work days. You still only have the same amount of work hours, but it's the specifics of how can we be better. And that's probably one of the biggest adjustments we'll make as far as our training regimen.
Mike Todarks with ESPN. In that State of the Union, do you mention a big picture perspective of where you guys are, where other people are?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. The season breaks down into 3 trimesters. Pretty clean, 6, 6, and 5. We completed the first trimester. We're 3 and 3. The ebb and flow of our production and performances, the peaks and valleys have been too high, too low. So we need to stabilize our the way we play, and I refer to that as playing more balanced games to the complementary football formula, which we haven't done. So, it starts with the ball. The first one that just jumps off is the obvious, the ball security. We're not winning the turnover ratio, so that's something that really the ball protection is something that's way off. The -6 is a glaring statistic that's also backed up with video, and so we have the ball exposed too many times. Twice the amount of times this year than last year. So the good news is that's what's behind us, and it's an opportunity to learn and grow and emphasize and do that. So, and it really goes back to what I just talked about. We need more group, more run blocking unit. Work together, the courses and those types of things, and then no different in the passing game. So, but yeah, that's part of what this meeting is.
And last week for Micah, was he here pretty much the whole time doing rehab?
Micah was here.
Was he with his health?
Yeah, he's doing good. He was in here every day. He's going through the rehab. We obviously had a big group in here the whole week last week, and hell, there's a lot of guys in here working extra. So that's always I'm always appreciative and impressed with that because saw a bunch of guys in here over the weekend. So yeah, you couldn't tell it was an off week or a bye week really, just based off the number of guys that I've seen in the building, rolling through here throughout the week. So, but yeah, Mike is making progress.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. When you talk about the turnover ratio, since you've been here, you guys have really forced a lot of turnovers. When you have your State of the Union, how much will you stress to the defense? That's what we have to do.
Absolutely. We call it the Cowboys 6, and that's a number one, 6 fundamentals of football, and ball security is definitely at the forefront of that. So we break it down to ball security into 2 categories of ball protection and ball extraction. So the ball extraction, our takeaways are down, but our opportunities are pretty consistent last year. So we need to be positioned. The first part of taking the ball away is the positioning of the defense. So obviously the film study, the instincts of where, and it's the connection part of it that I just talked about. That needs to increase because that'll make you play a step faster. The footwork, and that's where all the team fundamental drills. That's why we do them every day. The footwork, the anticipation, the proper angles, the pursuit and the finish, the energy to the football. So the opportunities compared to the last 2 years is a little lower. But the fact of the matter is, last year I think we were at 12 at this time, and 6 this time. But we converted those opportunities at a higher level last year. So I've always just really focused on the positioning of it because they do come in bunches sometimes, and sometimes the offensive guy does a little better job protecting it. So on the flip side of it, we're not protecting it. Our exposed opportunity is 2 to 1 compared to last year. So that's obviously a major emphasis for the offense and the return units.
How much in your meetings when you guys have your meetings internally is personnel changes? If you want to move somebody, sit someone down, move someone up, how much is that?
I mean, yeah, that's definitely part of it. We did a lap, was it Wednesday morning or Tuesday morning through the whole roster, so, and then, that's a constant conversation with Jerry and Will and Steven. I had a chance to sit down with Jerry on Thursday afternoon. So yeah, that's a consistent, constant conversation.
It's Skyler Dixon with the AP. This week does have a feel like it could tilt the season one way or the other. Do you try to avoid thinking of it that way, or is there value of it?
Well, I don't agree with the thought process. I mean, this is our opportunity to get to 4 wins. I mean, that's really where we're at. I think it's too early to even think like that. And I think that's really the beauty of the National Football League, the intensity of the week to week in the pendulum that swings so hard one way or the other. It's amazing the amount of content that's driven from that and the business advantages that come off of that. But that's really not the way we can't operate like that. I don't operate like that and refuse to, because you'll never be consistent in your performance if you want to swing on that pendulum. So that's not something that I really entertain it. But I do clearly, realize and then focus on we need to improve. We are about self-improvement. We understand who we're playing, where we're playing. That is secondary to what we're about. We're about self-improvement. We need to pick up our game. We need to do things that we can control first until we worry about all these other things that are out there. Because none of these other things are going to help us win. If anything, it's going to take energy away from what we should be focused on. So if it's not about winning, it's not about self-improvement, really don't have any time or energy for it. But, I do appreciate you giving me an opportunity to talk about all this nonsense here. So it's awesome.
Nick Harris, Forward Star Telegram. In your evaluation of things last week, did you and your staff maybe take a look at practicing? Do you anticipate any tweaks in that area as well?
Yeah, definitely. Just looked at all the drill work. Excellent question. It felt like you were in the meeting this morning. But yeah, we went through, the drills and, kind of the same thing we talked about in the meetings. Let's get away from the one-on-ones. Let's everything's 2-on-2, 3-on-3s. For example, line movement has been constant. Start 2 rookie offensive linemen. Week 1, they've been stunting and gaming us since we got off the bus. So we got to, we've been practicing it, but obviously it's not enough. So that's something we got to really focus on. So the drills in the defense, in the run blocking, in the block destruction. So just really focus on all those details and really stay in the same format. Let's do more group stuff together. More team. Let's give up the 9-on-7. in the combination period, and let's move it into a team period. Those kind of conversations. So, yeah, so we are tweaking. I would say we are tweaking our practice structure.
Any word as far as Kendricks and Bland, their outlook this week, or is it too early?
Saw Duran briefly before I came in here. I'll know more after the workout today. You know, and that's a big part of this workout, so it'll give us a really good gauge where everybody is. You know, just historically, practicing on Monday, I've done it a number of times in the past, and what I found is it's such a high risk for fatigue injuries, so that the work on the field today needs to be really controlled. And so my point is we'll have a better gauge on where they're at, but really till we really get rocking and rolling on Wednesday and Thursday, that'll be the real information. We'll know where those guys are.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Mike, you speak so highly of the across the hall meetings. Was there one in a past season to where there was a realization that really helped you that came out of one of those meetings that really solidified their value for you?
Yeah, definitely. I would say there's never not been one. You know, I think there's always you know, common concepts out of uncommon formations, you know, or uncommon concepts out of common formations. So, you know, we all have these buzzwords in coaching one-on-one, you know, attributes that we look at in a but, you know, apply it. You know, so apply it to actually what you've done, how you're really viewed from the outside, because the biggest mistake coaches make, and it's something you got to really guard against, who you think you are in practice and in the meetings is not who you are on Sundays. You know, so, you know, just looking at all the option routes, you know, looking at our hesitation releases on the option routes, you know, and, you know, we've had 10 of them in this one particular concept that we're looking at, and I thought I'd called probably 14 of them, 14 in that area. So I was a little surprised by the number, and then the production was really kind of in line with the practice reps. So it's you gotta really make sure you pay close attention to those things. So because you go into games heavy one way, particularly we've had 3 games this year where we're really totally out of balance, so we really didn't get into a number of the first and second down concepts that we had worked on all during the week. So, you know, you got to make sure you know exactly who you are, and what you put on film Sunday, that's who you are, and that's really what's nice about Cross the Hall, because the defensive coaches evaluating the offensive players, it'll all be off of game tape. You know, but then the individual work will be off of practice tape. So they'll get the fundamental and technique teaching of, hey, you know, if you know, offensive tackle, you know, Tyler Guyton. This now you've putting well, that's great language here. But now that you have 5, my mother would kill me if she heard me say that. You have 5 games on tape. You know, these are your tendencies. You know, these are your tendencies. So now the D-line coaches, you know, he's saying, hey, now I would, you know, you are open to the bull rush because you open your hips, you know, every time on your second step. So it's those little things that he's been told that already, but it's, you know, it's like parenting. You know, I could tell my kids all day that, you know, take a better second step, but, man, as soon as Kelvin tells it, then, you know, then it's different. Or you guys write it in the paper, it probably works better. But, you know, I think it's human nature. You know, if you hear it from somebody else, it just carries more weight.
We'll finish up there.
Aaron Cousins, Lone Star Live. While you were studying stuff in the bye week, we obviously talked a lot about the home road splits, 3-0 on the road.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you were able to identify there? Anything you're going to tweak on how you travel?
If I could bottle that up and sell it, I wouldn't be standing here. But yes, the home and away thing is. I just hope we keep it going, especially the next 2 weeks on the road. So we definitely want to keep that rolling. But, you know, we've done some tweaks on the road, so maybe that's what's working. But I did talk a lot about, going back in the spring and in training camp, about, you know, a road game anatomy of a road win. And so maybe that's working. But I've always appreciated road games, especially, you know, when you work. And, you know, for the Dallas Cowboys, you know, everybody wants to come to a game. Home games, you know, there's more going on around you. I mean, just me personally, I do enjoy being at the hotel by myself, getting ready for the game, the ride into the stadium. I love the underdog setting, you know. So I don't know, maybe that's serving us well, because we'll definitely get a big dose of it Sunday night.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.